a woman's worth, and I don't want anybody to get this conflated. Your worth as a person, as an individual, as a mother, as a child of God, as an individual in society, that's worthless. That's priceless. You cannot put a price on that, and you can't let anybody tell you what your worth is as a person, as a human being. Right. So don't get the two conflated. And I think women do that, where they think that the worth that we're talking about is their personal worth or their worth as a person. No, we're just talking about your worth or your what your utility would be to a man. That's all we're talking about.
You send me some of the posts that you feel, ooh, to just irk your nerve that women post. So we're gonna go over some of those, okay?
Okay.
So, so the first one was, you said, know your worth, then add tax.
Oh my gosh. And every time I see one of these posts, like sometimes I don't want to be mean, but I just like to call people out on the BS, because I think that women see these posts and I don't think that they think it through. It just sounds good to them. It's like, know your worth. Ooh, know your worth and add tax. That must mean I'm super valuable. And then I'll ask them, I'll just inbox them or something. I just ask them a simple question. So what is your worth? Like what is your worth? Like, what are you really worth? And then if you have to add tax after that, then I mean, what's your final price? And they never have a concrete answer. It's just this abstract, abstract quote that just makes them feel better. It's like it's just making them feel like they're more valuable. And so if you're gonna put something like know your worth and then add taxes, like you have to know what you're worth. And you have, and another thing too is women who say like, oh well, I know what I'm worth, and then you ask them, well, you can't just as a, let's say if you have a car, if you're a car, and I know that women are not cars, but it's just to illustrate something, right? A car cannot place value on itself. A car is only as valuable as the utility that somebody else can see in that car, right? And that's how men are. It's been proven that like men are just, we value utility. We see something and we think about what is it used for, and then we put a price on it, we buy it. When women approach things more emotional, so it'll be more like, how does this thing make me feel? For men, it's pretty cut and dry. It's like, is this a good car? Well, is it fast? Is it, is it low? Does it look good? Does it make a lot of noise? What can I use this thing to, what can it get, what can it gain me? And then we'll put a price on it based on the utility that it provides. And women, if you're talking about know your worth, no, a woman's worth, and I don't want anybody to get this conflated, your worth as a person, as an individual, as a mother, as a child of God, as an individual in society, that's worthless. That's priceless. You cannot put a price on that. And you can't let anybody tell you what your worth is as a person, as a human being. Right? So don't get the two conflated. And I think women do that, where they think that the worth that we're talking about is their personal worth or their worth as a person. No, we're just talking about your worth or your what your utility would be to a man. That's all we're talking about. Because if I'm evaluating you as a man, that's what I'm looking for, is like, what are you worth to me that is going to make me want to put in the effort? You know how expensive dates, and women these days, they want nice dates. They want, you want a guy to take you out and spend, $200 on a date, and you want flowers. These things cost. And if you're talking about men who not balling, that might be half of his, or a day's worth of work that he has to take you out. I mean, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of investment. You have to be worth something to him. And women complain, well, I'm worth more than that. And if no guy is buying, then maybe you're not worth that much.
Oh, and this is a good conversation, because it goes back to, some of the previous conversations we've had, because we're thinking, again, we were raised, if we're good, like you said, good mothers, good person, I'm nice, I'm caring, I'm loving. I have a vagina, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, I'm bringing those things. Why? I'm a good person. But like you said, if guys are thinking utility, what is your use to me? What value are you adding to my life? So is it personal to a man? You know, you look at the man. If I was a woman and I was approaching or dealing with this guy, would I evaluate his life and say, okay, this is Thaddeus's life. Let me look at what areas that I could, you know, be of help or of use, or how would I add value to his life based on where he's at? Or do you think it's just across the board, there are certain things that men would value as a value add?
Well, I mean, well, what we know from men is that the first thing that we see, of course, is physical. Men are visual. So that's the first thing that we see. So we put a price on you based on your looks. And that's why there's a rating from 1 to 10. And women all like to say that they're what? Women think that they're 10, right? But if everyone is a 10, then no one is a 10.
Mhm,
But because there's ratings, the ratings exist for a reason, right?
mhm,
You can't go into a car dealership and all the cars don't cost the same,
mhm.
right? Some are more expensive, some are less
Yes.
expensive. There's so said all of that to say you as a woman, right? When you analyzing your value, you
Mhm.
have to think about it from the man's perspective, not
Exactly. So you said,
yeah.
so
So
there's
one thing
looks,
that what they will do is that they will say all these great amazing things that make them a great person, but
right.
that doesn't appeal to me as a man. The fact that you're a good mother, I mean, that's those are not my kids. The fact that you may be a good daughter, that you go to church every week. If I'm not religious, that won't count for me.
Okay, so we've got the looks down. Okay, well, you know, what other things can women bring to a man's life? You know, can we look at, okay, he's trying to, for example, build this business. So, you know, maybe I could help him with, you know, paperwork. I could see myself as kind of like a helpmate to help him, you know, based on my skill set to get where he wants to get, you know, professionally or, you know, career wise or what have you. You know, does that give us a leg up as well?
Mm, it depends to the man, right? So
Hmm.
at one point in my life, that would be awesome. That would be a
Hmm.
super, like that would be amazing. That would be a help. If a woman say, "Hey, I can help you with your business," but at this point I am with my life, like I don't need you to do that.
Hmm.
Like I just and that's why you find like the older a guy gets, he just only wants a woman for beauty and just peace. Like that's all he wants is just beauty and peace because he already has everything already set. I don't need you to help me pay bills. I don't need you to do any of that stuff.
And what about companionship? You know, someone to go out with, do dates, to travel
Yeah,
with, you
that,
know,
that's
that.
that's what I meant by peace. So you bring that peace, that feminine energy.
Hmm.
So when it's like he likes to be in your presence, like he likes your presence. So it's just like your feminine beauty and your presence, and those are the two highest things on his list.
And when you say her presence, meaning like when he's around her, he feels how exactly?
So there's some women that just knows how to make a man feel like at home. Like she knows how to take a house, make it feel like a home, just make his place feel like a place of zen, somewhere that
Hmm.
he wants to be, right? Some people that you just want to be around them all the time. They have such a bubbly spirit, such positive energy. She's so nurturing that he's constantly craving that from her. So he
Hmm.
always wants that.
Okay.
And then, the opposite of that would be the women who, are always nagging and he just never wants to be around. So you can see the two extremes.
What I wanted to ask was like for a man like you, okay? So like you said, you've got it all, you know, together in terms of that. So are those the two things, you know, what things can a woman bring to you? Like, you know how y'all like to ask, what do you bring to the table? You can afford your own place, you can afford someone to cook for you, afford someone to clean your house. You know, what, you know, difference, what is it that you're looking for in a woman that she could add value to you personally?
So just let me tell you.
Okay, so those are kind of like the two things.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I don't need you to pay bills. I don't need you to
Hmm.
be uh, my partner in anything. I don't need you to grow my business. I, you know, I don't need you to do that. What you need to do is, you be feminine, you bring that sort of energy. You provide a base at home where, I mean, if you want to, you can take a lot of things off my plate. You can if you want to, as far as like home, like, paying the bills. If we have kids, just making sure that they're okay, you drop them to school, pick them up. Just make sure I don't have to run errands, right? So I could focus my time on building the business of building, our empire.
Okay. Okay.
And, and that goes back to what we were talking about before with the gender roles. I'm more traditional. No, I get it that everybody's not that way, but I'm definitely more traditional in that sense.
Okay. I want to keep this conversation going with, other men we'll have on the show and things like that. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
you should.
I this is imperative because that's again, the fact that we don't have defined roles now. It's like, okay, what can someone bring to the table that that person's going to find value in? And like you said, depending on where the person is in life, we're getting up there, 30s, 40s, 50s, it's going to differ. So I think it's really healthy to understand. So what do
Okay.
you think you can bring to a woman's life? Let's say a woman who's got it together, she's educated, she's doing really good in terms of
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, think about it. That's why people don't get along. Because think about from my perspective, I don't need you. Like I really don't need you. And
hmm
from your perspective, you don't really need me. So
hmm
what am I bringing to your life?
but that feeling of love, do men crave, because I know women crave that feeling of,
That
that
goes away. That goes away within the first, I would say, year or two, and that's when marriages break up. Is exactly when that thing goes away. So why would I base my relationship on something that's fleeting? I
mm,
wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
mm.
If you want that feeling of love and whatever it is, then just you have friends. You know.
So you don't think men, like say in their 30s, 40s, you don't think they crave that desire,
Oh,
that love and
definitely.
feeling?
Yeah, but if you are thinking logically as a man, you will know
Mhm.
that, okay, well, that's not a good reason to go get into a relationship. That's not
I
a
mean,
reason to love a woman.
not of itself, but I mean that adds to it, no?
It's just temporary. It's just something that lasts like a year, maybe two.
hmm
Now, there's always outliers that I say, because somebody's watching this going to be like, ah, no, I've been married for 15 years, and I still feel the same way. Great, you're outlier. You're an exception to the rule.
hmm
Um, but most people that won't pass year number two.
Okay. And I want to say from a, female's perspective, because I think that, like we've discussed in a lot of these episodes that, a lot of women, especially Black women, might be making more, might be, further along in life and things like that.
Mhm.
But I think we are still, craving that love, that intimacy, intimacy, intimacy. We are craving intimacy with someone. And it's not just sex, right?
And try to wring
Listen,
it from the other person,
it's
right?
not just sex, we a deep connection with someone, but we also want someone, of course, companionship to lay next to at night, to talk about what's going on, who's going to care about our lives and we care about their lives, so it's those things that money can't buy, your job can't give you, your kids can't give you. Those kinds of things are what we're looking for in each other. So I think it's a great conversation. I think everyone needs to, when they're trying to date someone or even dating themselves, think, okay, I don't have to go by, the stereotypical roles that I think. Let's look at my life personally right now, where I'm at. What is it that someone can really bring to my life and
What
evaluate the
can
per huh?
Yeah, for you, what can a man bring to your life?
I think one, because I have a daughter, they can bring that
Okay,
that
well,
male
your daughter
huh?
out. Besides,
Oh,
besides,
okay. So outside of that, definitely companionship, like I said, someone to like listen. Can you listen? Stop shaking. You listed what somebody can bring to your life. Can I list what somebody can bring to mine?
oh, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you. So yes, companionship, someone to, do things with, share. I love deep conversation. Like that is so, I need like that. Oh, I just thrive off of that.
Mhm.
So, like I said, so someone that you can have companionship with, who cares about your day, that, you can lay next to, you can do things, support you throughout your life, and you can accomplish, goals and things together. Sex for sure. That's like a number one. Cause of course we want to do it, God's way. So even though it looks like a lot of the shows we watch, sex goes away after a while, but Lord, the bit that's there, I will take it. Okay. And I think another thing too is Yeah, so you said I can't say the daughter part, but I think that male energy showing, showing my daughter how a man should love and take care, love her and feel that connection with her, and that's actually going to go to work and do what he needs to do. So it's not a whole lot. I think it's like two or three things that I think a man could bring to my life that, you know. So
And
that's the that's
this
the
is
thing is that if
this
both
is
of us only name two things that we wanted from someone, why is it so hard to find somebody?
I'm so glad that you asked that question. I'm so glad because you know what? When you were talking, I was writing down these things, right? So the first thing you
Yeah.
said is what? Communication, right?
I said
And
companionship
companionship. You said about conversation is what you said,
as
right?
well, communication as well, like the companion.
Because
Yeah.
that's part of companionship is what you're thinking, right? You're not just
Hmm.
thinking about companionship as somebody just in the room. You
Right.
want you want them to talk to you, right? There's,
Intimacy.
there is there's a guy named Mark Gunger, a
Hmm.
pastor.
Hmm.
I think you should go and read and watch videos.
What do you
I think a
say?
lot of women are because he always says that this quote, and that quote is if you ask a woman to explain the man that she wants or describe him, she'll describe another woman, and that's exactly what you're doing.
I'm describing a woman. What are you talking about?
What man you know like to talk a lot?
That is, I have met so many men that are
So,
sapiosexual, just like me, and can have deep conversations about things in life. I've met, yes, they exist.
okay, I'm not talking about the outliers now. Of course,
Just like
you
you
can.
and I, we have all these conversations. Same thing.
Yes, but
What we doing?
I'm a little bit. Of course, I'm a little bit different from your average male, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
clearly, right? As you guys can all
We'll say different in a nice way. Yeah.
yeah, different, right? So a lot of things that you mention are things that a woman would value, but
Hmm.
guys don't value that.
But see, and vice versa. Vice
No,
versa. The
and
things
that's
you value,
ex-
we are not at the top of our
exactly. So
list.
then you ask the question, it's like, then why can't I find somebody? Because the person that you're looking for kind of really doesn't exist. Another thing that you said was that you want somebody to care about your day. We don't care about your day.
Yes, you
What
do. If you really love the girl,
you see what the nonsense?
that is, if you love somebody, you're not gonna
You're
care about what's going on
projecting.
with their life.
Well, I mean, you coming home with your story about what Susan did in a copying room.
I,
We
I'm not
don't
talking about that.
care.
I,
But that's exactly what it is and then you go into how this thing made you feel, and well, you were on your period, and I just called my mom, and
talking about stuff like that.
so what are you talking about? Caring about your day. What is so important about your day that he has to care about?
I said caring about your life. So let's say, for example, I'm working on my comfy couch and I'm thinking of what should I talk about next, and I'm running ideas by you. Or
He
if
probably
we're
doesn't
talking
care
about,
about that either. Go, keep going. I'm being 100% honest with you right now.
but that's the thing is that I guess I'm based on this discussion too and other things. I'm starting to understand that both men and women, you know, want different things. So I'm thinking we have to.
You
No,
don't
listen. No,
say.
listen. I'm
Oh,
saying so we have to understand the other party and make adjustments, because just like you said, you want a woman who looks a certain kind of way. If I grew up a certain kind of way where my dressing or my looks, I didn't really care about being a size 2, and I find that that's something you like, then I have to be willing to make the adjustments, because now I understand that's what guys like. It doesn't matter that my
yes,
37 years of life, that
yeah.
this is what I was taught. Vice
Unfortunately,
versa. If
what
you
you're
hear
doing is
that
you're trying to go
I'm
against
sorry,
yourself now.
I'm sorry.
You're trying to go against yourself now.
Well,
So
it's
what happens is that
education.
you're going to be, and I've tried this before, guys.
Yeah.
Listen, like right now we're having this dialogue is so that you can learn, especially if you're younger. Like, don't ever try to do this where you find somebody you really, really like something, and you want to make that person into the thing that you like. Women are notorious for this.
Thaddeus,
Notorious. They're
I'm
like, hey baby, I really love you. I love you. We just met. It's like, I just love you the way you are. Now change.
Thaddeus,
It's like, no, it
I'm
doesn't go
just
that way. It doesn't
I'm
go that
just
way.
trying to say that, well, obviously it might be a little too late for us because we're in our 30s, hitting 40 and all that. But it's good for the young people or whoever to understand that. and to teach our kids, right? Because if it were in the 30s and 40s, we have kids we're raising. So even if we can't save ourselves, let's save the next generation.
Now
And
that's a
really,
better approach.
yeah, there we go, right? So
Hey,
we can teach them, hey, this is what am I, and I plan to do that with my daughter, even though, anyway, that's a long story. But the whole point is that if we have kids, we can teach them, hey, and have a real conversation. Like, this is what men like. This is what, they desire from a woman. Because, guys a lot of times get the whole speech about, treat a woman right, da da da. But women oftentimes do not get that speech like, hey, a man likes this, make sure you keep your body up, make sure you do X, Y, and Z because he likes it. You know what I mean? And I
I
think
know exactly what you mean because they damn sure as hell don't hear it because
exactly,
they have
exactly.
no clue, not a
Exactly. So
clue.
I think it's, even if we can't save ourselves, we save, the young kids watching, really take a lesson and learn like what men really want, and guys learn what women really want. Because as you see now, the two of us are kind of like at odds. We're like, okay, we just like these two or three things, but
And those are the 2 or 3 things that I am not. And so now you're trying to wring this from me now. So now you're trying to force me to hear your stories. It's like
and
that's
vice
what a
and
man
vice
does.
versa.
Exactly. So in my humble opinion, it's like, listen, know what a man is, know who a man is, and know what he's supposed to bring to the table. And that's why I would always say that's why traditional roles work so well. Because in a traditional role, you're not looking to your husband to care about your day. You're looking to him to provide. He loves to provide. That's what a man does. He goes out, he kills, he slays the dragon, he brings home the wildebeest to cook. He drops it at the door and he feels like a man, like, yeah.
But
You don't
my
want
whole
after doing all that, you don't want to come in and then sit and then be like you and then hear your stories. Like he
but
he really don't. And then y'all just go around and when you're telling a story, you never get to the who, what, why. You know, it's always do you remember Keisha? It's like you remember Keisha? Like no, no, I don't. Oh well, I gotta tell you about Keisha now. So we
Thaddeus,
don't listen. I'm
yes,
just telling you.
I'm
You want to
sorry.
learn, right? You want to
Yes.
learn, right?
Hmm.
I am telling you, as a
Hmm.
man,
Hmm.
we do not care about that. So you're forcing us to care about that is just making us miserable, right? And
Hmm.
that's why you need girlfriends. So when you want to chit chat and there's a little bit of hot gossip that you just heard about, you pick up the phone and you call your girlfriend and you chat.
But Thaddeus, I'm talking about deep intellectual conversations.
But
Like
then
men, you said guys don't care about going deep, talking about nothing deep.
when guys get together, you think that that's what they do?
Thaddeus, but there are intellectual men that like having intellectual
And
conversations.
those, like I tell you, are the out what?
Oh, well, I just I guess I attract that kind of person. But listen,
Or maybe
um,
they just do it for to you for they do it with you in the meantime.
but if it's not in you, then you just don't have it. But I want to go back to what you said about, traditionally, traditional roles and things, because I don't know if us going back, because we live in a society that it's not traditional anymore. So
It's
for
not
us
one.
to expect, for us to, people are again not needing each other for the same things anymore. Our needs are more, that's why we have such a big thing about depression and mental illness and all this, because a lot of what we do now is emotional. It's not, it's mental. You know what I mean? So for us to say, oh, let's just go back to you fish and I fried a fish, it's not realistic because people are coming together now for things that aren't, the cut and dry work, money, clean the house. So we can't just say, let's go back to tradition. We have to say, in our modern day society, a lot of what we do and how we connect with people is mental. So I just can't say, oh, let's just be traditional, because that's not why people are like really hooking up and making even decisions in life anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could try that and see what works for you, but I'm just letting you know, like that's just you're using men for what they were not really meant for, right? And the whole we just live in a they call it a gynocentric order where I'm telling you, like I said, I do my research
Mm-hmm.
where the woman's thinking is the correct way. So that's why they said that men need to be more emotional. Men need to emote. Men need like this is not who we are. And then when we don't do it, it's like, well, that's toxic masculinity. And why? It's like you're telling men, why won't you be more like women? It's like, no, this is the next evolution, is to become a woman, is to be like emotional. I'm dead serious, is to sit down
So,
and like
so we're
talk
all
for
lesbians.
hours and just like babble on about what you, everybody just think that they're so deep that you talk about, or we sit and we converse about the mysteries of the unit. Like, get out of here, man. Like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very intelligent, right? I'm definitely, when you would call intelligence, you measure my intelligence, is definitely like top, yeah, maybe 3% or something like that of the United States, right? Like, I'm talking to a girl, like, I don't necessarily want to talk to you about calculus and about sine over cosine equal tangent, and like, that's not, I don't want to talk to you about the mysteries of the universe. Like, sometimes I just want a woman to be a woman. It's like, I just want you to just like sit and maybe like just, we just chat about nothing. We talk about the neighbor dog who got loose yesterday, and
Wow.
yeah, like, all this trying to be all mystical and mythical, and all
Okay.
educated, and
Listen, guys.
and talk around the table. Like, we just getting these fantasies from the movie. I think
Oh
that
my
that's what.
gosh.
And then when we're sitting down, we're trying to like replay what we think that we should be doing.
Oh my
When
gosh.
some of the most fun I had was just like down to earth. I won't call them dumb, but it's just not the usual. No, I get it. Like, I would need to be mentally stimulated, right? So talking to somebody who has maybe like a low IQ, I wouldn't be able to take it for too long. However, I have friends. I have friends. I have business partners. I have different people that if I want to have an intellectually stimulating conversation, I can call them, right? Or I could come on this show and we could do this, right? And I could get my intellectual rocks off. However you decide to do that, then that's what you can do. But when it comes to men, men women dynamics, I think that we're trying to use each other for the things, or for the qualities that we're not built for, or that's not by a biological natural function.
Mm.
Men are not good listeners. We don't listen, especially when you guys are just going around and beating around the bush. We don't do that well. So you're trying to force us to do that. Is just leave us alone. Let's go. Let me go fish. That's why guys can fish for hours, do like a brainless activity for hours and hours on end, and women can't figure out why.
You know what? Thank you, Thaddeus, for always being real about how you feel. And I want to hear you guys. Okay, listen, guys, we have women watching the show. We trying to figure it out, okay? Let us know what you think. Do you agree with Thaddeus? Like, are we looking for, different things? Are we trying to make you women? Are we all lesbians? Or tell us, do you really want do you really want someone that you can have a deep intellectual connection with? You guys let us know, and let's keep having conversations like this again. We want to understand each other, not give up on each other. There's hope. Let's just learn about each other. Let's learn about ourselves and see how we can be best partners.